My name is Marie, and this is Likened Unto Me, my personal scripture journey. Charity is a true principle. After all, charity never faileth, and it is the pure love of Christ. Moroni and the Apostle Paul say that charity suffereth long, and is kind, and envieth not, and is not puffed up, seeketh not her own, is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil, and rejoiceth not in iniquity, but rejoiceth in the truth, beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, endureth all things. But I think we can sometimes mistake charity for letting other people walk all over us and take advantage of us. So I want to talk about someone in the scriptures who had charity, but who also established boundaries and held them. And that person is Captain Moroni. You might have never thought of Captain Moroni as an exemplar of charity, but he was. And I'm going to walk us through it. I'll be going pretty fast and jumping around to different stories about him. And it will help if you are familiar with Captain Moroni's story, which you can find starting in the Book of Mormon in Alma chapter 43 through Alma 63. Okay, so first off, charity suffereth long. Moroni became chief captain when he was 25 years old. And he led the Nephites until just 5 years before his death. We don't know exactly how old he was when he died, but we do know he was chief captain for at least 18 years, most likely more. During that time, he had to put up with traitors, 2 rounds of kingmen trying to steal their freedom, 2 Nephite cities fighting against each other over land, a government that wouldn't send supplies, and fewer men than what he really needed. And those were just the problems within his own country. The Lamanites invaded 3 different times and took over at least 11 different cities. Even in times of peace, he was preparing fortifications and trying to strengthen the Nephites physically and spiritually. But he stayed faithful to his people and his cause the whole time it was required of him. That's suffering long. Charity is kind. In Alma chapter 43, after successfully surrounding Zarahemnah, a Nephite dissenter, and his Lamanite army, Captain Moroni calls for a cessation of bloodshed. He gives his enemies, who attacked them unprovoked, a chance to leave with their lives. He also says that if they don't promise to never fight against the Nephites again, he will just keep killing them. And they start fighting again because Zarahemnah thinks that an oath is unacceptable, but the Lamanites get crushed. When Zarahemnah finally calls for peace, or in other words, a second chance, and he's willing to take the oath, Captain Moroni gives it to him, even though Zarahemnah had just tried to kill him a little while before. This type of thing happens again years later when the Nephites and Lamanites are fighting over the city Mulek. The Lamanite leaders are killed, and the soldiers are left in total confusion. Moroni offers to stop the fighting if they will surrender. He doesn't want to kill them if he doesn't have to, but he must stand for his people. He is as kind as he can be in his circumstances. Charity envieth not. After hearing about Helaman's success in defeating the Lamanites in his part of the land, Captain Moroni doesn't grumble about his bad luck, that there are still Lamanites where he is, or that all the Lamanites that Helaman had chased out had fled to the armies Moroni was still fighting. Instead, he shares the good news so that all his men can rejoice, and then he writes the government in behalf of Helaman asking that men and provisions be sent to help. Charity is not puffed up. Whenever the people begin to struggle, Moroni always calls them back to the Lord their God. His rallying cry is not to himself, but even in the heat of battle, he brings their thoughts back to God to strengthen them. Charity seeketh not her own. Captain Moroni did not just rely on his own wisdom and his own spies, thinking he could do it all himself. He also wanted guidance from the prophet. Everything Captain Moroni does is for his people. He's fighting alongside them when they're at war, and he is always bettering and strengthening their protection. But he never gives the glory to himself. He always points his men and his people to God. Charity is not easily provoked. Captain Moroni did not want to fight, but he knew when he needed to stand up to preserve freedom. When Amalickiah first incites the people to rebel, Moroni turns first to words. He makes the title of liberty and publishes it throughout the land. He tried to talk to people first before he started fighting. And if he can, he always gives them a chance to surrender. Charity thinketh no evil. Captain Moroni was doing good, preserving his people. He was motivated by love and thanksgiving to God. He had no evil intentions. He was just trying to keep his people safe. Charity rejoiceth not in iniquity, but rejoiceth in the truth. In a plot to free the Nephite prisoners from the Lamanites, the Lamanite guards are made drunk by some extra strong wine that the Nephites tricked the Lamanites into taking. Moroni could have easily given the command to just kill them all while they slept, as the Nephites were arming the prisoners inside the city. But he didn't. That was a last resort, just in case one of them woke up before the Nephites were ready for him. Fighting for right, having boundaries, is something that we have to do here in life. And we come across people that seem to be our enemies, or who actually are our enemies. Christ faced many enemies during his life. His mission was to lay down his life for us all. Now, Captain Moroni was not Christ. He was not a perfect man. He definitely had his weaknesses and his struggles, but his mission, in a way, was also to save his people. But he was called to do it differently. And charity has a place in both stories. Charity suffereth long, and is kind, and envieth not, and is not puffed up, seeketh not her own, is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil, and rejoiceth not in iniquity, but rejoiceth in the truth, beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, endureth all things. Whatever and however we are called to stand and fight for right, whether we're like Captain Moroni, or Ammon the missionary, or Abinadi, or Paul, or Peter, or Nephi, or just plain old Marie, charity has a place in our mission. To fight for the right, to be a warrior of truth, you have to have charity. Otherwise, you are just evil fighting evil. And that won't save anybody. Thanks for listening. Any quotes or scriptures or stories that I used are cited in the description. This is likened unto me, my personal scripture journey.